Good afternoon and welcome to the Healing Seats with Busisiwe Mohabi. I am back and I'm continuing with my journey. I hope you're well. And I'll be using my phone just to see some notes. I normally use my laptop, but I don't know, something's wrong with my Gmail account and I will be using my notes. So if you see me looking like this, you just know that I'm looking at my notes to see where I am. So, with that being said, I hope you guys are good. I'm coming with another episode 25, I think. Yes. So, I just want to talk about when you heal. If when you don't heal, you repeat the same mistakes. Now, remember the last episode that I did, I spoke about that I had accepted after seeing him at a mall, working with that lady, Uji, because I had thought, Uguti, yeah, after seeing them, my heart just said, you tried all you could, you can move on now. So at the time, I needed to go to therapy. That's what I needed at that time. I needed to go to therapy. I needed to see my triggers. I needed to know what mistakes am I repeating. I just needed to understand myself. I didn't need any other relationship. But because I was loved, starved in their marriage, and everything happened so quickly, I wanted validation. I needed someone who would love me and who would tell me and show me that they loved me. So that's the thing about when you've just maybe left a relationship and you didn't have, or a marriage and didn't have time to process things. You just throw yourself to the next best person who says, I love you, I have feelings for you, and you just like, I also deserve to be loved. And we even have a quote that we always say, that when love visits, give it a chance. So yeah, that's what I did. So after, and I was vulnerable at the time. Remember, 2014 I'm divorced. 2015, the whole year I'm sick. I'm still processing what is happening to me. And 2016, I lose my dad. So I'm vulnerable. I've just had another loss. And instead of dealing with all of that, going to therapy, because I didn't even know our clinics, or maybe I'm ignorant. It's only when I started working there, knowing there are social workers, there are psychologists in some clinics, and that's the help that I needed then. I had no business getting to another relationship, but we learn from our mistakes, and I'm hoping I will help you with that today. So okay, let us talk about Oguti. When you don't heal, you repeat the same lessons. It's the same. I've said this on my TikTok account that I think I've got daily devotions there, so you can go that side. The handle is the Healing Seat with Busi, or Busi Shushine. So you can go that side and check us out. If you haven't seen us on TikTok, we are there. I'm there, and I have daily devotions every morning. Sometimes I'm late and my devotion is around 12, but I will tell you what I read that morning. So I once spoke about that, Uguti. In everything, there are levels. If you don't pass grade 1, you won't move to grade 2. So it's the same thing with life. That's how it is. If you do not pass a certain stage, or you do not heal at a certain space in your life, you will repeat the same lessons. So when he left and then I finally saw him with that lady, I decided, no, it's time to move on. And then I wasn't in a relationship, and I wasn't present with myself. That's what I can say. And people would approach me, guys would approach me, and it was quite a relief to see good, I'm still attractive, and people do want. I was 30, remember, when he left. So now I'm in my 30s. The teens have been hectic, the 20s were hectic, and now I was in my 30s, starting my 30s. I should have just done some stock taking, some introspection, but yeah, I just went to that the next best thing. So as we are preparing to bury my dad, there's this guy. He's always here. We are going to the hospital. He's here. He's going with us. And the next question would be, or a normal question, why is this guy not going to work? Why is he always around? Doesn't he have a job? And he's here. He's supporting us. If we are going to see my dad before my dad passed away, he's there, he's going with us. If we're looking for a straw, he goes around and looks for that. Gandier, he's busy as uzifakela points, and I remember when my dad finally passed, he was also there asking some church members, why are you not going to see the Mbogane family? He was just that guy who was there. So now he tells me, just after we bury my dad, he's like, Busi, I don't know what you need me to do to see Uguti, I like you. And I do not want to play. I want to get married. Do you see? Can you hear that history is repeating itself? And Uguti is on cloud nine. She's grieving. She's vulnerable. And she's hearing what she wants to hear. She was married and this person didn't treat her right. So here's a guy, good looking, handsome, from the same church. And because Ubusi doesn't want to date outside her faith, so this makes sense. This guy grew up in the church, and all of that. So this guy is here and people know him in my church. I also know him, grew up with him and all of that. So don't think when you grow up with someone or around someone, you know them. You do not know them. It's just because you see people every weekend when you go to church, or you see them when you go to church camps, conferences, you do not know that person. So now I wasn't in a relationship, and it was not my plan to date, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally, I was just okay. I was okay. I've always been a spiritual girl. I love God. I love to listen to Him. Ever since I gave myself my life and I dedicated to God, because I grew up in the church. I've always been a church girl. So this time when this guy comes, I'm like, okay, maybe we can try again. We've tried this before. It didn't work, but maybe this time it will work, you see. So I give love a chance again, but I'm still broken. So I'm also talking to you, maybe thinking you want to give love a chance again, but you're broken. There are things that you do not know about yourself. There are things that you didn't find out, you didn't discover. I'm talking to you right now as your big sister. So this guy, he was familiar, he was comfortable, he sounded safe. And I told myself, just because marriage hurts me, it doesn't mean that love must be punished. That saying, if love visits again, give it a chance. I've said it. So I gave it a chance. But the truth is, I didn't need a relationship at the time. I didn't need a relationship. I needed therapy. I needed silence. And I needed healing. So know yourself. Know when it's time to do what. If it's time for healing, heal. If it's time for silence, let that be. If you need healing, heal him, does it. Do not rush into a relationship. Yes, we are not mourning, we are mourning relationships actually. What we had hoped those relationships would be. So yeah, I told myself, you know what, I don't want to repeat the same mistakes, you see. Now, the thing is, you can leave a relationship, but if you don't leave your patterns, you will meet the same person in a different body. I hope you heard me right, guys. If you do not, let me read it for you again, because I prepared this. This is what I do. I prepare content, and then if I'm not freestyling and I'm just talking, I prepare so that I don't repeat myself and I do not get lost in my own channel. So let me read that. If you do not leave patterns, you will meet the same person in a different body. That is why you ask yourself, why do I always attract the same baby daddies, people who leave me with children, and upapama 4 babies later, I made a mistake once, twice, the third time and the fourth time. No. It is because you do not leave your patterns. So you will meet the same person but in a different body. So let me tell you something important. Until you learn the lesson, life will repeat the lessons. Until you learn the lesson, life will repeat the class. You will keep on going to the same class. So Mina, I was basically repeating the same grade, and I didn't know it at the time. So even at work, if because we cannot always blame the other person, we also have to smell our own armpits. In Zulu, but if it's stinking or not. So let's say you're always late and you get fired, and then they let you go. And then you have to also ask yourself, which part did I play in this? What did I do in this? Because now you'll say they just fired me, but you forgot to go to when you were always late. So ask yourself, where am I responsible? Now, I'm not talking about situations of abuse. I'm not talking about that is never your fault. It can never, ever, ever be your fault. If someone is hitting you, there's GPV involved. I'm not talking about situations where it was never your fault. I'm talking about a situation where you participated in your own pain. That's what I'm talking about right now. So in my case, I walked into a new relationship blindly, with open wounds, unprocessed grief, and with loneliness that felt louder than wisdom. So it happens, you find a lot of people get into new relationships thinking, it's a different man, but you are just repeating the same pattern, but the body is different, the person is different, but the same traits are there. You are attracted by the same things. And one thing that I saw is that I was attracted to people who sold me a lie. People would tell me, I want to do this for you, I'm going to do this for you. So yeah, that's what I got. So this guy starts showing interest. He's supportive, he's present, he's comforting, and sometimes that is more dangerous than charm. Because when you want this person, they're here. Have you ever heard of a lady saying, hi, he was not my type, but at least when I want to go on errands, he's there. When I want this and that. Just because someone has certain traits that you want in a relationship doesn't mean that person is the right person for you. So at some point, I stopped myself and said, you know what? I don't want to repeat the same things. Let me tell him about the secrets. I don't want to repeat secrecy. I don't want to repeat hiding. I don't want another person discovering my truth in the wrong way. So I told him, this is my status, and this is who I am, and this is what I'm living with, and this is how I got it. And he said, listen, don't worry. I'm here for you. That is nothing. I've done I forgot the name of the course that, the name of the course, but it's known in South Africa. It's just in yeah, he told me what it was. It's just that right now I've forgotten it. And then he says that course included your HIV, people statuses, prevention, treatment, relationships. And he said, I'm woke. I know about this stuff. So don't worry about that. Thank you for telling me. And he looked me in the eyes and said, I love you. I'm negative, but I don't care about that. We can get into a relationship. You know what? When he told me that, I'm like, yo, people like this still exist. People who see you for who you are and not the chronic disease that you have, because it's rare. I'm telling you, it's 2025, but it still happens. And now, if you've been rejected before and someone had left you and replaced you, that kind of acceptance feels like healing, even if it's not. It felt like healing. I felt home, and it just felt comfortable. So now the thing is, I had made promises to myself. I had boundaries. I told myself, listen, you rushed after 2 weeks. This time we're taking time. And I made promises to myself. I would not rush. We will test, even if I know my status, but we will test. We'll go for counseling. We'll do things the right way. That's what I had told myself. But temptation came, guys. Emotions came, loneliness came, and comfort came. And all of that makes all the reasoning and all these things that you know to the window. And slowly I started breaking my own rules, one by one. That's the hard truth that now, looking back in hindsight, that I can say to myself, I broke my own rules. So when you break your own boundaries, you create your own heartache. If you ignore your red flags, I'll tell you what were the red flags that I saw about this guy. This guy had approached me when a long time ago, about not too long ago, and I told him, no, I mean, I'm preoccupied. I'm married. I have someone, and then he kept on calling. Then I had to block him. I blocked him for a whole year. I think I blocked him from 2015. And let me tell you how he got hold of me. He knew the church that I grew up in. He just came to church. So when I saw him there, and there's this other lady in church that he had spoken to and said, can you please talk to her? I really love her. I want to make her my wife. Yeah, I know that in the past she was married and all of that. What. And at the time she told me that things are not, so the fact that someone is pursuing you, it doesn't mean that is a green flag. That's a good thing. It's not always, I'm not saying all the time, but I'm also saying it's not always a good thing. So I wasn't ready for another relationship, guys. I was still grieving. And now here I am. I was just doing what? Repeating the same pattern. Um, and I was still choosing comfort over clarity. You need clarity more than comfort. And that's why I fell into the trap again. I found myself into another trap, different body, not because he was evil, but because I wasn't healed. I wasn't healed. So healing is not a timeline. You cannot say it takes 2 years, it takes 5 years, it's not a timeline. It's a process. And if you skip the process, life will bring you the same exam until you pass it. That's what it will do. It will bring you the same exam. So in the next episode, I will tell you exactly what happened in that relationship and the turning points that made me finally face myself. And I have 5 questions for you. We always have questions on this channel towards the end, and 5 questions for myself. So yeah, this is the questions for me. It's to help you, maybe possible questions that you have. I've told you guys you can ask me questions on the comment section, but no one ever does. But I appreciate the people who appreciate what I do and do tell me from now and then. Thank you so much. People who sympathize with me, your words mean a lot. So here's number 1. Looking back, what was the first red flag you ignored because you were still hurting? I had told him to back off and he didn't. I had to block him. Now I'm talking about the new relationship. I had to block him. And when I unblocked him, there are people who are meant to be blocked forever, guys. And there are people who are just, people that you talk to, but they don't listen. So he had tendencies that I saw, stalking tendencies that I saw. But yeah, I ignored that. What part of yourself were you trying to comfort by jumping into a relationship too soon? That I'm unlovable. I wanted to be lovable as well, because I was told in that marriage that I'm useless. Not only me, but also my siblings. We are useless. I was told words like, you need to get your own life. I was deprived of the words, I love you. It's something that I hardly heard of. And because I didn't have self-esteem and already I was a broken woman, I needed to hear that so bad. I needed someone to care, someone who's consistent, someone to call me. And yeah, that's what I wanted to feel. What boundary did you break first, and why did you think you broke it? The boundary that I will not even kiss. That's how high the bar was. I told myself I would not even kiss someone that I'm not married to, someone that I had not gone through all the stuff that I need. I know it's impractical, especially if you have kids, you are not a virgin, but it's not that. If you've listened or met people who were celibate, if you have met people who know what they want, I had, the bar was so high, guys. I broke my own rules. And something would tell you, man, you're not a virgin. You've been married before. This and this and that. You listen to those things. And if you don't share the same rules, I would say if you don't share the same rules with the person that you are seeing or dating, someone is going to convince the other person to break those rules. And yeah, I betrayed myself. So when you told him your status, what emotion did you feel most? Fear, relief, or hope? All of them. I felt all of them. Fear, because at first I thought when I tell him that, he will just be uninterested and leave. Instead, he stayed. So I was not prepared for that. It was something that I didn't prepare myself for that. And yes, I was relieved, and I also had hope. Okay, even with this, you do get someone who would love you. You can get into a relationship, someone who wants you and chooses you. At what moment did you realize you were repeating the same cycle as your previous relationship? When he started showing me flames, that's when I knew, man, I was not healed. And some things I realized them just now before doing this video. No, man, yeah, so healing is like that. It's not linear. Healing, there are things that you will realize 10 years later, 5 years later, some a week later. That's how healing is. So here are 5 questions for you as a viewer. Have you ever ignored a red flag because you were lonely? That's the first one. The second one, have you ever blamed someone else for your situation where you played a part? It can be in relationships, married relationship, your sibling relationship, platonic, at work, and all of that. Until you are able to accept your part in it, you will not grow. What pattern have you repeated in different relationships or jobs? The pattern of listening to what you want to hear, the pattern of rushing things, the pattern of allowing people to talk you out of your boundaries and rules. Yeah. So, and also this thing of seeing a red flag, red as this dress that I'm wearing, but you ignore it. So, which boundary did you break that later hurt you? No, guys, these questions are for you. I don't know why am I answering them. Which boundary did you break that later hurt you? And the last question for you, what lesson in life is life trying to teach you right now that you've been avoiding? So the first question for you, I'm repeating it for the last time. Have you ever ignored a red flag because you were lonely? Have you ever blamed someone else for a situation where you played a part? What pattern have you repeated in a different relationship or job? Which boundary did you break that later hurt you? And what lesson is life trying to teach you right now that you've been avoiding? Those are questions for you, Ndase. And I hope you learned something from this. We are still going to have more things that we're going to talk about. These are sort of like diary sessions for me, and something that I will leave for my children, for the generation after me, and reflections that I will have with myself to look at them and say, this is how far I've come, and what am I repeating, and what have I learned from the whole thing. So with that being said, thank you for stopping by and listening. Thank you for the people who have been there from the beginning. We are going to grow together. I promise you. It's steady, it's slow, but I believe God is going to do great things with this channel. This is actually what He called me into. When I started the other channel, Courtroom Chronicles, Trials of South Africa, it was a way of training myself, familiarizing myself with YouTube, social media, and that's what I want to say. So I'm growing, I'm learning, and thank you so much for being here from the beginning until now. And until next time, God bless you. May He increase your territory. May He answer your prayers and your questions. And may you grow into loving yourself, being self-aware, and knowing when you've started being now, when you've gone too far. Yeah, let me just say that. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. God bless you and ciao.